France is the most visited country on the planet, over 100 million people a year, and most of them see the Eiffel Tower, take a selfie, and go home. That's a tragedy, because the real France, it's so much bigger than that. I've spent weeks pulling apart every blog, every forum post, every travel video about France to build this list. And I didn't just pick the 10 most famous places. I picked the 10 that actually change how I felt about this country. Some of these are iconic. A couple of them, most tourists don't even know exist. And one of them may have the single best food scene in all of Europe. Not Paris, somewhere else. We're going from the streets of Paris all the way down to the coast of Marseille, through lavender fields, medieval villages, alpine lakes, and the greatest wine country on earth. By the time we're done, you'll have a complete picture of the best France has to offer. You'll of course want to save and share this video so that you can build your own trip today. 1. Paris. Look, I know, you're watching a video called 10 must-visit places in France, and the first one is Paris. Groundbreaking. But here's why it's number 1 and why you can't skip it. Paris has more museums than most countries. The Louvre alone would take you 4 full days to see properly. Nobody does that. Don't try. Instead, pick one wing and go deep. Personally, I do the Musée d'Orsay over the Louvre for a first visit. Smaller, more focused, and you'll actually remember what you saw. The big news for 2026, Notre Dame is fully reopened after the restoration. If you've been waiting to go back, this is the year. The Sacré-Cœur in Montmartre is still free to enter and gives you one of the best views of the city. And honestly, some of the best moments in Paris aren't inside a museum at all. Grab a croissant from a corner boulangerie, sit on the steps along the Seine, and just watch the city move. That's Paris. Now you're probably thinking, what about the crowds? Fair question. Avoid July and August if you can. April through June and September through October are the sweet spot. Nice weather, shorter lines at everything, and hotel prices that won't make you cry. 2. Provence. Okay, now we leave the city, and this next place is where France starts to feel like a completely different country. Provence is the south of France that you've seen in every movie and every Instagram ad for rosé, but it actually lives up to it. The lavender fields around Valensole are the real deal. Endless rows of purple stretching out to the hills. Best time to see them? Late June through mid-July. Outside of that window, they're just green fields. Still pretty, but not the same. Start in Aix-en-Provence. It's walkable, it's got open-air markets almost every day, and the food is incredible. Then drive out to the hilltop villages. Gordes and Roussillon are the ones everybody photographs, and they really do look like paintings. Ochre-colored stone, cobblestones everywhere, old guys playing pétanque in the square. Warning, the midday heat in summer is brutal. This is not a walk-around for 8 hours destination in July. Do your sightseeing early and late and spend the middle of the day at a long lunch with a cold glass of rosé. That's not lazy, that's how the locals do it. 3. The French Riviera. You're probably picturing yachts and champagne. And yeah, that's part of it. But the Riviera is way more accessible than you think. Nice is the smart base for the Riviera. It's got an international airport, affordable hotels compared to Cannes or Monaco, and a food scene that's completely underrated. Walk the Promenade des Anglais along the water, then cut into the Old Town for the Cours Salea market. You'll find tons of flowers and soca. That's a chickpea pancake you eat with your hands and the kind of color that makes every photo look good. From Nice, you can day trip to Cannes and Monaco by train in under an hour. Monaco is worth seeing once. Walk through the casino area, watch the super yachts, feel wildly underdressed, and head back. That's enough. Don't eat there unless you're comfortable spending 30 euros on a salad. 4. Lyon. This is the one I teased earlier. Maybe the best food city in Europe. And no, I'm not exaggerating. Lyon has been called the gastronomic capital of France for almost a century, and once you eat here, you'll understand why. The bouchons, these small, traditional Lyonnais bistros, serve dishes that haven't changed in generations. Think rich, unapologetic comfort food. And a 3-course meal at a good bouchon runs maybe 25 to 35 euros. In Paris, that same quality would cost you double. But Lyon isn't just food. The Old Town, Vieux Lyon, is UNESCO-listed and full of these secret passageways called traboules. They were originally built so silk workers could move fabric through the city without it getting rained on. Now you can just wander through them. It feels like finding a hidden door in someone's apartment building that leads to a Renaissance courtyard. Climb up to Fourvière Hill for the view. Visit Les Halles de Lyon. Paul Bocuse. It's a gourmet food market where you can eat your way through the city in an afternoon. And it's only 2 hours from Paris by high-speed train. I call Lyon the no-hype city. It doesn't market itself the way Paris does. It just quietly delivers one of the best travel experiences in Europe. If you like food and you skip Lyon, you're making a mistake. 5. Bordeaux. If Lyon is for food people, this next one is for wine people. But even if you don't drink, the town is worth the visit. Bordeaux had a massive renovation about a decade ago. They cleaned up the limestone buildings, built a gorgeous riverfront, and turned the whole center into a walkable, photogenic city that somehow doesn't feel overdone. The Place de la Bourse and its reflecting pool, the Miroir d'Eau, is one of those places that looks fake in photos. It's not. It's better in person. Then there's the wine. Bordeaux is surrounded by almost 300,000 acres of vineyards. Take a half-day trip to Saint-Emilion. It's a UNESCO-listed village that looks like it hasn't changed since the Middle Ages. You walk through narrow stone streets, taste wine at small family estates, and wonder why you ever thought Napa was the peak of wine country. If you've made it this far, please consider leaving a like or comment and subscribing for more. It helps us grow our channel and continuing to make more videos for you guys. 6. Normandy. This is where the video shifts gears. We're going from wine and sunshine to history and coastline. And 2026 is a particularly special year for this region. Normandy has 2 heavy hitters. First, Mont Saint-Michel. You've seen the photos, a medieval abbey rising out of the sea on a rocky island. It looks like something from a fantasy novel, and in person, it's even more surreal. The key is to arrive early. By 10 a.m., the main street is shoulder to shoulder. Get there at opening, and you'll have moments where it feels like the whole island is yours. Second, the D-Day beaches. Omaha, Utah, Juneau. These are some of the most important historical sites in the world. 2026 bonus. This is the centenary of Claude Monet's death, and Normandy is going all in on celebrations. Over 100 events across the region, with major exhibitions at Giverny, Rouen, Le Havre, and Honfleur. If you visit Monet's house and gardens at Giverny between March and November, the water lilies and Japanese bridge are exactly what he painted. 7. The Loire Valley. These next 4 are the places that most first-timers skip and end up regretting. The Loire Valley is basically the chapter of France where the kings went overboard. There are over 300 chateaux scattered through this region, some of them so massive it's hard to believe they were built for one family. Chambord is the poster child. 440 rooms, a double helix staircase possibly designed by Leonardo da Vinci, and a forest preserve bigger than the city of Paris surrounding it. But don't just do Chambord. Chenonceau, the one that spans a river, is smaller and arguably more beautiful. Villandry has the gardens. And if you rent a car, you can hit 3 or 4 in a single day without it feeling rushed. The reason this region works so well is the pace. It's rolling countryside, quiet roads, vineyards, and castles. After the intensity of Paris or the Riviera, a day or two here feels like exhaling. 8. Strasbourg. This next place doesn't even look like France. It looks like someone dropped a German fairy tale village into French wine country. And that's basically what happened. Strasbourg sits right on the German border, and the architecture shows it. The Petite France district, UNESCO-listed, is all canals and half-timbered houses that look like they belong on a Christmas card. Which makes sense because Strasbourg's Christmas market is one of the oldest and most famous in Europe. If you're visiting in December, this is the one. But it's not just a winter destination. The cathedral has an astronomical clock that does a little automated show at 12:30 every day. Get there by noon to grab a spot. The food here is hearty and German-influenced. Tarte flambée, choucroute, and the local Alsatian wines, especially Rieslings and Gewürztraminer, are some of the most underrated in France. People come expecting France. Instead, they get this hybrid of French and German culture that feels completely its own. It's one of those places that rewires what you thought Europe was. 9. Annecy. If you only add one surprise to your France itinerary, make it this one. Annecy gets called the Venice of the Alps, and for once, the nickname is earned. It's a small town on the edge of one of the cleanest lakes in Europe, with turquoise water so clear you can see straight to the bottom from the bridges in the old town. The canals run through the center, and you'll immediately understand why people fall in love with this place within the first hour. In summer, swim in the lake, rent a paddleboard, or hike up to the surrounding peaks for panoramic views of the Alps. In winter, the ski resorts, including Chamonix at the foot of Mont Blanc, are some of the best in the world. The town itself is tiny enough to walk end to end in 20 minutes, but you'll spend way longer than that because you keep stopping to look at the water. This is the moment on the trip where it finally stops being a checklist and starts being a memory. Sit by the lake at sunset with some local Savoyard cheese and a glass of wine. That's the whole plan. That's enough. 10. Marseilles. Last one, and I saved this for the end on purpose because Marseille is the most divisive city in France. Some travelers call it their favorite, others say skip it. Here's my take. Marseille is 2,600 years old. It's the oldest city in France, and it feels like it, in the best way. It's rougher around the edges than Paris or Nice. It's loud, it's multicultural, and it doesn't try to be pretty for tourists. That's what makes it interesting. The Vieux Port is the heart of the city. Fishing boats, seafood restaurants, and the catch of the day laid out on ice every morning. This is where you eat bouillabaisse, the iconic Marseillaise fish stew. Don't get it at a tourist trap near the port. Ask a local. They'll point you somewhere better. But the real reason Marseille is on this list, the Calanques. These are narrow limestone inlets just outside the city with water so blue it looks photoshopped. You can hike to them, kayak through them, or take a boat. If you want the single most dramatic natural scenery in mainland France, this is it. Fair warning, Marseille is not the relaxing part of the trip. It's gritty, it's chaotic, and some neighborhoods are better to avoid at night. But if you want to see the France that doesn't exist in travel brochures, Marseille is where you find it. All right, there they are. 10 places in France that cover the full spectrum: culture, food, history, nature, and a few spots that'll catch you completely off guard. Here's my quick framework for remembering them. I call it the 3-layer France trip. Layer 1, the icons: Paris, Provence, the Riviera. Layer 2, the deep cuts: Lyon, Bordeaux, Normandy. Layer 3, the wild cards: Loire Valley, Strasbourg, Annecy, Marseille. You don't have to do all 10, but pick at least one from each layer and your trip will feel complete. If this helped you start planning, drop a comment and tell me which place you're most excited about. I read every single one. And if you think I left anything off the list, let me know down below too. Thank you guys again for watching, and we can't wait to see you guys again for our next video.